"Don't move, hands where I can see them." Marcus didn't flinch. He set his coffee on the roof of his car and spoke in the calm, resonant baritone of a man used to commanding a courtroom. "I am a United States District Judge. This is my property. I am asking you, do you have a warrant?" Purcell's response wasn't a legal answer, it was a physical one. In a blur of charcoal wool and tactical nylon, the judge was slammed into the aggregate of his own driveway. 3000 suit was torn, his glasses shattered, his leather Bible was kicked into the gutter, as his 14-year-old grandson watched from the doorway in silent horror. The agents realized they had made a mistake, but instead of stopping, they did something much worse. They tried to cover it up. This is the story of the 24 minutes that cost a federal unit their careers, and the man who proved that even the most powerful agents are not above the law they swear to protect. To understand the magnitude of what happened on Magnolia Court, you have to understand who Marcus Eldon Briggs was. He wasn't just a man in a suit, he was a living monument to the American dream. Born in Vine City, one of Atlanta's most storied but struggling neighborhoods, Marcus learned early that the law was either a shield or a sword. His mother, a school secretary, taught him that precision of language is the beginning of justice. He took that to heart. He was a Morehouse man, an Emory Law graduate, a man who had spent a decade in the trenches of civil rights litigation before being nominated to the federal bench. His confirmation hearing had been a rare moment of Washington unity. Even his ideological opponents couldn't find a crack in his record. On the bench, he was known as the clockworker because his rulings were so mechanically sound they were almost impossible to overturn on appeal. He lived in Brookhaven not for the status, but for the quiet. He wanted a place where his grandson Darius could ride a bike without looking over his shoulder. He wanted a life where the only judgment he had to pass on a Sunday was whether the pancakes were fluffy enough. When Agent Garrett Purcell grabbed Marcus's arm, he wasn't thinking about civil rights. He was thinking about a tip. An anonymous, unverified tip that claimed a squatter was occupying a high-value residence. In Purcell's mind, the man in the charcoal blazer didn't look like he belonged in a 6-bedroom Brookhaven estate. The physics of the takedown were brutal. Purcell utilized a wrist-lock maneuver designed for violent offenders. Marcus, who was standing perfectly still with his hands visible, offered zero resistance, which actually made the injury worse. Without the tension of a struggle, Marcus's shoulder took the full force of the torque. Agent Dana Reese stood 5 feet away. Her chest-mounted camera was active. The red light was pulsing. To any observer, it looked like the system was working, but inside the unit's operational culture, they had a protocol for moments like this. Reese tilted her body. She angled the lens toward the pavement later. Forensic experts would find that she had manually toggled the recording on the recording and off, creating sync gaps that were designed to look like technical glitches. But they forgot about the Okafor factor. Theodore Teddy Okafor was 69 years old. He had spent 30 years in the DeKalb County Fire Department. He knew how to stay calm when things were burning. From his porch across the street, Teddy didn't scream. He didn't intervene. He simply braced his smartphone against a porch pillar to stabilize the shot. He captured the moment Purcell's knee crushed the judge's breath out. He captured the moment the Bible was kicked aside. Most importantly, he captured the audio of Marcus, clearly identifying himself as a federal judge 3 separate times. The arithmetic of error began the moment they pulled Marcus's wallet. When Agent Carl Maddox saw the gold-embossed federal judicial ID, he didn't feel remorse. He felt a cold, sharp spike of adrenaline. He looked at Purcell. Purcell looked at the house. They didn't help him up. They didn't offer a medic. They spent the next 8 minutes whispering behind the SUV, trying to decide if they could paper over the incident. That afternoon, Purcell wrote the report that would eventually become Exhibit A in his criminal trial. Subject was evasive. False. Video showed he was stationary. Chibi subject refused to identify. False. Audio recorded him stating his title. Pi minimal force used to gain compliance. False medical records showed a dislocated shoulder and a grade 2 concussion. They thought it was a he said, she said. They didn't know about the nurse in scrubs. They didn't know about the second-floor window footage. They didn't know that by 2 p.m. that Sunday, Chief Judge Patricia Harmon had already alerted the U.S. Marshals. The downfall was total. The Dorjay's Civil Rights Division didn't just investigate the arrest. They opened the black box of the unit's history. They found a pattern of demographic patrols, unauthorized sweeps through affluent neighborhoods, specifically looking for people who didn't fit. Garrett Purcell was sentenced to 48 months in federal prison. During the sentencing, the prosecutor played Teddy Okafor's video on a 100-inch screen. The judge in that case, a colleague of Marcus, noted that Purcell hadn't just assaulted a man, he had assaulted the very concept of the Fourth Amendment. The $3.9 million settlement was record-breaking for the district, but the Briggs provision was the real victory. It mandated that any anonymous tip stop must be pre-verified by a third-party dispatcher, and any body cam gap longer than 5 seconds would result in an automatic internal affairs investigation. On a Sunday 1 year later, the sprinklers on Magnolia Court hissed as they always did. Marcus Briggs walked to his car. He checked his watch. He was on time. Darius was in the passenger seat this time. The boy was older, quieter, but he was watching. He watched his grandfather drive past the spot where the coffee stain had finally faded from the concrete. Marcus didn't look back. He had a docket to call. He had a law to uphold, and as he pulled onto the main road, he knew that the system hadn't just protected him. He had used the system to protect everyone else who would ever stand in a driveway on a Sunday morning, unbothered, unbroken, and movie for